It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Iowans head softball coach, Alyssa Tiumalu. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me, Brandon. It's great to be here.
Thank you. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to start coaching in college softball?
Yeah, that's actually a great story. So when I finished playing, I kind of wanted to get away from softball, and I actually went into being a social worker. And I just didn't like that. I was helping people. It was great. I was fantastic at it. And I just missed being, with the team on the field. And I just wanted to get back into softball. I actually wanted to be a coach when I was playing, but we can go into more as to why I kind of went astray and then I came back.
Of course, what was that like going to UCLA to play collegiate softball there?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, it was a dream come true for me. I've been playing since I was honestly, I always wanted to hit off a tee when I was 2 years old, but been playing softball since I was about eight. And, I worked really hard. I love to play. And I'm very fortunate that I got to have that experience to wear blue and gold.
How was that feeling like getting to represent UCLA and getting to put on that softball jersey for the first time?
Yeah, it was amazing. I came into my freshman year, and I didn't expect to play. I'm not the biggest player, but I worked the hardest. So we got to play our little alumni game that was in the fall, and Megan Langenfeld was just like the first champion, in 2010, and she's pitching, and I got a hit, and I'm like, oh, okay, like I can kind of hang with everyone. And then of course, the game always gets you, and she struck me out, no problem, the next at bat. So it was really a fantastic experience. I'm so lucky that I got to have that opportunity, and I always get to represent that.
Of course, during your 4 years going to UCLA, what was that like getting to compete in the NCAA tournament all 4 years?
Oh, awesome. Again, I'm super lucky that, UCLA is the best softball program, and, more times than not get that chance, right? So I'm definitely super fortunate that I had great players, great coaches, and we played hard, and it's an expectation going to UCLA that you're going to get to that postseason. So I'm super lucky and fortunate for that.
What was that moment like in your senior year going to the NCAA regionals?
Amazing. For me, the furthest that we had gotten was regionals in my 3 years. So when we got to supers, that was the furthest that I've ever been. And one of my co-players too, Jess Jess Hall, but she's Vogel now, and that was the furthest that we've been. And it was a surreal experience because we had some great moments. Delaney Spalding, she's a freshman. She hit a walk-off home run to keep us going to win the second game against Kentucky. And you can't win every game. It's not how it works. Sometimes things happen, and Kentucky came out and they beat us at home, and they were a phenomenal team that year.
How was that like obviously competing all 4 years to go close to the College World Series?
Awesome. Again, I had great teammates, and they're all champions, Olympians, and I'm so lucky that I got to play, with the best, and I got to play against the best at the end of the day. Everyone we played was really good, and that's something that my coaches taught me: respect your opponent and expect to win. Those are things that I hold on to.
Looking back over your college career, what was that like? Obviously, as you said, you were getting to play with those Olympians that represent the countries.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, got to play for Lisa Fernandez. I mean, she's, the GOAT. That's what they say about her. And I'm so, again, privileged and lucky that I got to learn from her. I mean, she's the best. And even just, we had, players like Andrea Duran come back, another Olympian. We got to practice with her. Lane would come when she was a undergrad coach for us, and she would pitch to us. And again, I just got to see the best and be around the best. And how can you not get better, right?
After your time at UCLA, what was it like getting into coaching and first starting off on the high school level?
It was definitely, different, and that's not a negative. Again, the only experience that I had was UCLA, right? So that culture, that expectation, that type of stuff, I've kind of had to find a way to connect that to players. But at the end of the day, I've always loved coaching, doing camps, doing lessons. And so I want to give back to the sport that has taught me so much, and especially the girls that play it. So I'm super lucky that I get to love what I do and do what I love.
How was that transition like from going from the high school level to getting into college coaching?
It was, a needed thing. I missed the expectations, the take it serious, you got to have fun, but you got to take what you do seriously, right? So I missed being a part of a team, being surrounded by, like-minded people, and just, again, getting to do the thing that I love most.
How was that like obviously getting your first college coaching job at Southern Utah?
Yeah, so like I said, at the time I was there, I was a social worker, and I'm here, I'm helping mentally ill, and working with, women in domestic violence and things like that. And um, I just wanted to be around people who wanted to get better. A lot of that career is about maintenance and making sure people are okay, they're in their homes, they have benefits. And, I just missed the competitiveness. I missed the friendships I had. I missed that team feeling. So I missed being a part of that type of stuff and representing something bigger than myself.
What was that experience like traveling to John's and becoming the assistant coach?
It was amazing. Like I said, I volunteered the 1 year at Southern Utah, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. Like, I want to be in softball. I want to be a coach. Like, I know that this is my purpose, right? So it's funny. Amy Cavill Hawk, she's the head coach at Boston College now, but I threw my resume out everywhere, anywhere. I was willing to take whatever it was, and she's like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she brought me out on an interview, and honestly, I moved in 2 weeks, and I haven't looked back. So I'm super thankful that she took that chance on me. I was 25 years old, young. It's my first, real job in this industry. And again, I'm so fortunate for her. And here I am now, head coach.
What were some of the things that you learned as the assistant coach there?
Yeah, I learned a lot of things. I think I learned how to be a better teammate, especially not being like a player and being like someone who's on staff. It's totally a different feeling. I know the younger I was, I always felt like a player still, like I'm going to get in trouble or something. But no, I learned how to be organized. I learned how to, get something done on time and make sure it's right, not, oh, I'll do it when I get to it. I really respect Amy and the things that she taught me, and it's definitely, there's some things that I take from her that I apply now.
Of course, how easy was it going to St. John's to become an assistant coach versus obviously going back to your alma mater of UCLA, where they still knew who you were?
Yeah. I'm sorry, repeat that question again. I want to make sure I understood it.
How easy was it going to St. John's where they didn't know you as a player versus obviously saying going to your alma mater of UCLA where they knew you as a player?
Yeah, it was definitely different, because I'm kind of this person. I have, a big name on, that I represent. But at the end of the day, just because I played there, it doesn't make me better than anyone. I have so many things that I can give back to the girls that I coach, and I hope that they take something from that. And it's not just the softball part, it's the people part. Like, I really care about making my players the best version of themselves on and off the field. So I hope that the players at St. John's did take something from that, from my experience with them, and they're applying that every day in their life so that they're strong women at the end of the day, as a person, not the softball player.
While at St. John's, what were some of your accomplishments as assistant coach?
Yeah, I'm really lucky. I walked into a great thing. So 2015, they were the Big East champions for the tournament, and 17 and 19, we were regular season champs, coaching staff of the year. We made the Big East tourney 3 times. I was involved with, Crystal Puda getting player of the year. Gretchen Bowie was player of the year or defensive player of the year, 2000, those were 2018s. And, we had great players, great team. And again, I'm super lucky that I got to be a part of those accomplishments, not just for myself, but with my staff, the staff and the players and the team.
How was that transition like from going from being an assistant coach to getting your first head coaching job?
Yeah, it definitely, people say like, oh, it's your first time being the boss, you're going to go through some highs and lows, and 100%, like being an assistant is way different than being the head coach. I've learned a lot in terms of who I am and how I am as a boss, managing people and being responsible for that. That's a whole different set of pressure, stress. But honestly, I wanted it. I told myself I wanted to be a head coach by 30, and I did it. So, I love that I get to be in charge. I'm kind of naturally like that. So it's been awesome. And I have honestly the best people that I get to work with every day.
What was that feeling like when you did get announced to become the next head coach at Iona?
It was great. It was interesting. I was in between, right? So I was still at St. John's, and I got hired kind of late for Iona, and got there in September. So I was still kind of like, what am I doing? Where am I going? And to finally like put that out there and think about the journey that I've had and to how I've gotten here, like it was, it was a great moment for me in my life, and honestly for the future of my career.
Of course, what was that transition like from obviously, as you said, you were transitioning from being an assistant coach and working with St. John's to now getting hired at Iowin and becoming the head coach and getting started there?
Yeah, it's definitely, I've learned a lot, and I totally respect all my coaches and bosses and what they do. And you kind of always learn that with some maturity, right? So um man, I cannot stress communication, communication, communication. I think one thing that I kind of tell my players is don't ever assume someone knows, right? um I over communicate, I plan, I organize, and you know consistent. Those are the things that I stress, and hopefully, those are lessons that my players are going to take on too, to say like, yeah, I'm going to be great at being a leader and even being a team player.
As a coach, what was that like getting to visit the school before obviously signing and committing to become the next head coach there?
Yeah, Iona is sneaky cool. I'll say that because I obviously played here in my past, with at St. John's, we played against Iona all the time, but I never really realized what was here at Iona. So like being able to tour the facilities and all the upgrades and the renovations that Iona is committed to, I was really impressed, and I actually love that it's kind of a small school. Like you walk across campus, it's 10 minutes. You don't need to drive. You don't need to, none of that. But great facilities here. We really make it work. Everyone at Iona is a team player, and all of us coaches, admin, we love what we do here. And I'm again super fortunate that I get to work with, like-minded people who honestly just want to be great.
How's it been like obviously getting to step on a new softball field and become the head coach and leading them?
Awesome. Like I said, this has been kind of one of my career goals for me. So I've definitely accomplished that. And, it's been great to represent, a new four letters, not UCLA, but IONA. So it's awesome that I get to rep this program, lead us into the right direction, and hopefully, we win a lot of ball games.
What are some of the things that you've took during your time as a player at UCLA and as a coach at St. John's to help you to become a head coach?
Yeah, so I think two of the biggest things that I really preach is accountability and respect. And that's something that I learned at UCLA. And I think it's one of the best things that I learned. At the end of the day, no one is perfect, but if you can own your mistakes, then you're going to have people who are going to respect you a lot more. And life is about making mistakes. If you fail, you can learn. If everything's perfect, you really can't. So those are two things that I harp and, I really believe in. And it's been nice because I've been able to see that develop with the players that I have coached when I was younger at St. John's, and now seeing it kind of through with, running my team. And those are two big values that they are learning. And it's really like rewarding for me to see that type of stuff, not just the softball results.
As a head coach, what is it like obviously building the team and the schedule around you?
Great. I'm big on, if it's not challenging, it's not right. So I'm lucky that I have the connects to kind of play the best. I want to play the best. I want my kids to have the best experience, and it's something that I'm not going to settle for with them. I think that they're kind of like, whoa, like she's really wants us on our toes 24/7. Yeah. Another thing we preach was be comfortable with the uncomfortable. So that's something that we're definitely preparing for. And, yeah, I don't really care who we play. They tie their shoes just like us. So we're starting to kind of get into that mindset.
Of course, in your first season as head coach, what was it like obviously taking your team to the conference championship?
Great. It's funny. We again, my first year, I'm transitioning, right? I have to have some patience. I can't make immediate changes, right? So my kids, when we got to that tournament, we had some things going on. We were the 6th seed, and I think people kind of counted us out. And I give them a lot of credit that they kind of just had some tunnel vision. And, we went in and we wanted to win. We wanted to play. And they were super competitive. They were super focused. And I was really proud of the performance that they gave of being that 6th seed doubted underdog type, mindset. And we finished out third. Third ain't first, but I'll take third.
Of course, who are some of the teams that you face each week in your conference?
Yeah, so in our conference, we've got Ryder, Marist, Niagara, Canisius, Quinnipiac, Fairfield, Manhattan, St. Peters. We just added the Mount, Siena. I think those are all the teams. So it's pretty competitive. It definitely gets a little dicey towards the end, but it's great. All of us coaches have great relationships, and it's nice that we can be friends and we get on that field and it's business.
What is that like obviously getting to have the teams come to your facility and play on home versus going, let's say, to Quinnipiac and Fairfield and playing on their facility?
Yeah, I mean, home is always better, right? I mean, it's an expectation you should win in front of your home crowd. But no, we're really lucky. Iona just renovated our field. So we had a dirt infield and a turf outfield, and now we've got a completely new field where it's turf. And now, being in the Northeast, snow is a thing, weather is a thing. So we should be able to play most of our games, and I think that that's going to be tremendous for us. On top of that, this year we are home a lot. So that's a really nice thing where the kids get to sleep in their own bed, know they're coming into their locker room, getting ready, and being able to step on that field and have no problem.
Of course, as you talked about being up in the Northeast and obviously snow being a big thing, how have you been able to adapt from the snow and the weather?
Yeah, it's definitely been a learning process for me. I'm, California girl, never seen below like 40 degrees. So I definitely learned a lot about shoveling the snow and how to take care of the field and how to push it off the turf and like all that type of stuff. But, at the end of the day, we have a great facilities team, and everyone does their part to make sure that the kids get to play, and that's what matters.
Of course, during your first few years as the head coach, what are some of your biggest accomplishments?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. So I think the biggest one was that, we went from 6th seed to a 3rd seed overall finish. I had 14 student athletes on the all academic team. 2 players, Kara Zazzaro, just Chilcott made first team all MAC, and Emma and Jamie made Emma Capuano, Jamie Shearer made second team. So we have a lot to be fortunate about. And with like some stats and things like that, our defense got better. We, second in the league with home runs. The pitching's, number 2 overall ERA. Batting average against was low. Just a lot of great things that if you look at the numbers, the team did get better. And that's what matters at the end of the day. And I plan for us to get even better this year.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you started to build?
Yes. So that was a great, thing for me this summer. I really did my work. Last year I came in like, okay, I have to kind of roll with the punches, right? 2 things that I made sure that was known was we are going to have accountability and respect. Like that is never going to be something that I bend on, right? And this year I really, again, did my homework of what is good, not just for me as the leader, but for the team. Who are we, right? That was a standing question that I would ask the players, and they couldn't tell me that. And now, I'm like, okay, if you're not going to tell me, then I will. So, again, our culture is accountability, respect. We're going to have poise when we play. So we're not going to have up and downs of emotion. Our 3 I's are initiative, intent, industriousness. Have purpose in all you do. Work hard. If you do that, the results are going to happen. And have team spirit. At the end of the day, I'm lucky that the girls do a really good job of being connected. I don't have to force some friendships here. And they love being together and working to get better.
As a head coach, what does the recruitment process look like for you, and what do you look at in those prospective student athletes when going on the road?
Yeah, so we get to recruit really in the summers, obviously, and in the fall. And I kind of just look for players who play hard. Like, I want to see a kid who's taking reps between, getting their ground balls, right? I want to see a kid who, okay, I hit a pop-up, I got out, I sprinted to first no matter what. Those are the type of kids that are going to work for you, right? It's great to be talented, don't get me wrong. And there's a fine line of, okay, I want someone who's going to be a good kid and I want someone who's really good on the field, right? But it's really about, for me, hustle. And if you're going to do the little things, those are the things that I look for. On top of that, having good grades, right? I want a kid who's going to be responsible and, take their schoolwork seriously. And usually that's a good indicator as to the type of person that, I'm going to be kind of working with and managing to be, they're young women to be strong women. So those are some of the things that I look for in, PSAs.
What does the official visit look like for those PSAs looking to come to Iona?
Yeah, so we actually just hosted our official visit for our 23 commits. So what we did was I really wanted them to get the Iona experience. So, we took them to a basketball game. The dads of the kids are like, oh my gosh, we can see Rick Pitino. So, that's always a good selling point too. Taking to a basketball game, we had a dinner with them. The girls stayed over with their future teammates in the dorm. And they got to experience practice, go to class, and really see what they're walking into. I'm not one to keep it straight. This is what you're going to get, love it or hate it. And at the end of the day, we have great kids who are coming in, and the future is bright for Iona.
As a head coach, what is it like obviously seeing those freshmen put on the Iona jersey for the first time versus seeing
Yeah,
those seniors put it on for the last time?
yeah, it's always a fun experience for them to wear that uniform, right? Like they get to rep their school, our program, I'm sure their families, their fans, all that type of stuff. And think about the journey that it took to get to this point. At the end of the day, we're lucky, they're privileged to get this opportunity to play softball and go to school, right? So, they definitely love putting that uniform on. I love seeing it on them. I love seeing them in maroon and gold. I don't want to see them in anything else. So it's definitely an amazing experience for the freshmen, which is coming up February 24th. And it'll be surreal too for our older kids. And I hope that they really take in that moment.
How is it like obviously seeing those seniors put it on for the last time and then afterwards go on to play professionally, whether it's Athletes Unlimited or Team USA?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you can play after, I can't stress it enough. Play until you can't. I wish I could have done that. So they're definitely, I think it always hits on that senior weekend, and they're going to really think about all the work that they've done. And it's really going to come together. Like, I'm so lucky and thankful for what they got to do. And we have tremendous seniors to where, they love being a Gale. They love being here, and they get to always remember their 4 years here and know that they made a great, not just 4-year decision, but a 4-year decision and be, a Gale for life.
What was that feeling like the first time you stepped on the field as a head coach?
You know what? I got to say, I really don't get nervous about things. And I honestly was nervous. Again, it's kind of like, wow, okay, I was a kid playing, I was a player, I was an assistant. I didn't have the pressure and stress that you do as the head coach of like, am I right in the right lineup? And did I see this right? Is so-and-so going to perform? There's so many things that you can't control. But at the end of the day, like, I love this game. I love making decisions. I just feel like I'm exactly who I'm supposed to be when I go on this field. So it's been great. And I, again, just so lucky for what I get to do.
As a head coach, was that like obviously seeing your players achieve their first home run, first hit, first pitch?
Yeah, I mean, those are honestly my favorite moments. I sometimes get emotional just because, I know what that feels like, and it's amazing to be a part of their journey and kind of, you know, what they want to accomplish, right? And that's what matters. You talk a lot to them about, what are your goals? What do you want to do? These are my goals, but what do you want to do? And it's about getting them to believe in themselves. I think, like, yeah, I'm kind of a hard coach, not in terms of I mean or anything, but like I'm tough. I want them to be their best. And it's awesome to see when we worked on, okay, keeping your arms through and making sure you get through that ball, and they do it, and they even like, we worked on that. So it's awesome when we get to be a part of that process and we see the results of them getting better, and they now trust us and they get that confidence. And like I said, I'm really a confidence coach at the end of the day.
What are some of your future plans for the program moving forward?
Hey, number one for me is win max and get to regionals. So I think that we're in a great place this year. We really didn't lose many players in terms of how good we are. So I think that we are on a great path. But at the end of the day, I want to win the MAC tournament, and I want to go to postseason.
What advice would you give those high school athletes looking to play collegiate softball?
I'm sorry, say it again.
What advice would you give those high school athletes looking to play collegiate softball?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. If you want to do it. Don't, for lack of a better word, don't half-ass what you're doing. If you're committed to being a Division I player, then, don't be scared to email coaches. Don't be scared to put yourself out there and introduce yourself. Come to camps. Again, it's how you sell yourself. And always keep your grades up. Those are the kids that I look at first. You got a 3.5 and up, you are more recruitable than someone who is 3.0 and below. So that's the thing. Always think about how you can best represent yourself, and why wouldn't you bet on yourself versus someone else?
What advice would you give those college freshmen looking to compete for the first time as a collegiate athlete?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that Coach I would always tell us is that the game doesn't know how old you are, right? And I can attest to that too in my experience. I never let how old I was or someone, being older than me be the reason that I don't play. So be fearless. You have nothing to lose. And honestly, I would stress that the freshmen, they always have that mindset because they're here trying to take spots. But keep that mindset, because it's not guaranteed that you get to play every year. Things happen. Some players are better. Everyone is good on your team. So be fearless, be the person, take some initiative, leave it all on the field. I like those type of players versus those who are playing scared.
What advice would you give those college softball players looking to play professionally, whether it's Athletes Unlimited, US, or even the MPF?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, again, if you can play, keep playing, because you're not going to get to do it when it's all said and done. If you got a new career, or you become a mother, or you're in a relationship or whatever, like, take the time to invest in yourself and what you want to do. I think that we as athletes, female athletes, like we forget when we're done what it's like, or we're here transitioning into the new thing, and it's tough because your life has been so regimented, and now like you lose that team aspect. And I think that's something that a lot of collegiate players deal with. So again, if you can play, why wouldn't you? I am like, team play until you can't.
What advice would you give those players that are looking to represent a national team and one day make it to the Olympics, whether it's Team USA or Canada?
Yeah, I think for those type of players, take yourself serious, and I think that you do at that point, right? Like, you're going to represent USA, Canada, another team, like, their business about, their process, their preparation, their diet, all that type of stuff that we talk about collegiately. Like, they really, I think, apply it at that point, because I mean, you're a professional. This is your craft, right? So I would just say take it seriously, and they usually do. But it's always cool to see some of my old teammates who are still playing, and they totally we're meant to be there, you know?
What advice would you give those future college assistant coaches that are looking to get their start in coaching in collegiate softball?
Yeah, I think, you know, as an assistant, it's important to know you're not going to like every decision your head coach makes. So honestly, the more flexible you are and willing to kind of let the situation be a learning opportunity, the better. You know, I definitely will say, like, I had to learn that of, like, you know, my role is my role. And I think that the more that you're personable and the more that you're open to new ideas and concepts, I think the better experience that you're going to have, especially as an assistant, because, you know, there are things that I can say, you know what, I take this from Coach I took this from Lisa Fernandez. I took this from Coach Kirk. I took this from, you know, Gina Vecchione. She's at Cal Poly. You know, all of my coaches and, you know, Amy and Bob, like, I've taken something from them to say that this is what I think is important for who I'm going to be in my identity as a coach.
What advice would you give those future head coaches that are looking to get started in building their own softball program?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, always have your stuff on paper, you know, have your culture, have your offensive philosophy, your defensive philosophy, your pitching philosophy. Have all that stuff on paper, because at the end of the day, you know, it's you putting who you are as a coach on paper, to where I can sit here and talk to you and say, yes, I know everything that I'm talking about like the back of my hand, right? I would say that that honestly is one of the biggest things that I keep all the time, and to make sure that I'm an expert in what I do.
That's great advice. Where can our listeners find you at on social media along with the softball program app?
Yeah, I mean, you can check us out, Iona Gales, that's for the roster, and our schedule. I'm on Twitter. I'm on mostly Twitter. So A_Tiumalu is where you can find me. And, you know, we see a lot of things with the program and like I said, camps, clinics, all that type of stuff. Obviously there's softball, you know, Instagram and things like that. So definitely give us a follow and keep up with the Gales.
Thank you again, Coach Alyssa Tiumalu, for your interview, and best of luck in your future as the head coach for Iona.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brandon. I had a great time talking to you. So thanks so much.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Alyssa, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
All right. Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.